show the presentation that I gave at the Academic and General Bookstore in Larnaca, Cyprus. The best, in my opinion, in Cyprus if you want to get books, or some people too there. And the presentation is rituals and the meaning behind them. Parts of this presentation are included in my second book, Back to the Roots, where I talk about ancient civilizations worldwide. There are myths, there are symbolism, the meaning behind all those, how they're connected, how they contrast, how they learn from each other, and what we can learn from all those life lessons that they gave us. There are also Jungian ideas inside, Joseph Campbell's monomyth, and so on. If you are interested, I will have a link down about where you can find the book. You can contact me to get it. And anything else I will talk later on. I'll have links down in the description. First of all, let's define what is a ritual. There are two definitions. The first is a way of doing something in which the same actions are done in the same way every time. An example is coffee making. Every single day, you wake up at a specific time, specific temperature, you use specific tools and equipment, and you create the coffee you enjoy. That's a ritual, something you do every day the same way. The second definition, which that's the one we care about for this presentation, is a fixed set of actions and words, especially as part of a religious ceremony. For example, a religious festival. Every single year, that specific date, deity is celebrated, there is feast, there's people selling stuff, there's specific rituals and ceremonies done about it, and so on. These definitions can be found in the Dictionary of Cambridge. This is the best explanation I have found online. That comes from Catherine Bell, a religious scholar and ritual theorist. Ritualization is a way of acting that specifically establishes a privileged contrast, differentiating itself as more important or powerful. So through ritualization, we go from the ordinary and the mundane, the normal day-to-day life, to the extraordinary and the sacred, something beyond materiality. Now I want to compare and show you that how rituals from ancient civilizations are still present to this day. And we can see this from, at least for the Western world, through Christianity, the most well-known and practiced religion. And I'm going to use, first of all, I'm going to show you the Orthodox and the Catholic Christianity, which that they have the most followers. Religious similarities. Here is parts of Orthodox Christianity. Of course, there are similarities even between them, the practices, but I chose 3 examples for each. Here you can see the priests that are in the holy space, that only them they can go. The people are outside in the church. They only go and then they come out and they say the scriptures. Here there are the offerings of the people, bread, wine, olive oil, and so on. And here is at Easter time and other specific religious days that we celebrate about a specific saint or about Jesus Christ that was hanged and so on. And the cross or the picture of the saint is being held by someone or 2 or 3 people, depending on how big it is, and is going around the church or the space that the church is, and the people are following. That's another ritual as part of it. Here, parts of examples of Catholic Christianity, where the priest is talking to God, trying to make the bread and the wine more sacred, to give it to the people. Here, using the smoke, clearing the sins, the evil, and so on. And here, the baptism. when we are newborns, go to the priest and we get baptized and we're given the sacred name that we are now Christians. Both examples of Catholic and Orthodox Christianity, there are these rituals. I just gave three for each to see. And we'll compare them with ancient civilizations so you can see that they are still present from back then. First of all, ancient Egypt, the oldest of the ones I'm going to show you. They started at 4,300 up to 3000 BC. It was a pre-dynastic period, and then 3000 onwards, it was a dynastic period. They had a lot of dynasties, so I'm not gonna go in detail here. I'm just showing you when they started. So as you can see here, from piece of the paint in the wall, here they show the offerings that they gave to the gods, feather, meat, and so on, different things that they want to give to the gods, as the bread and the wine and so on in Christianity. Here, as you can see, like we showed that they are holding the cross or the picture, they're going around the sacred place. They hold this boat. That's a boat. These are the priests that are holding it. And on top of that's a boat. Sorry, that's a boat. And on top of it, there is the sacred piece of the god. It's picture or a statue or something. And as you can see, there's also smoke. And they go around, and the boat is symbolized through a myth of Osiris that went down in the underworld, and every 24 hours has to go around the journey, and it goes on a boat. So that's symbolic of that. Other than that, as you can see, it is the same as we do in Orthodox Christianity. Like we go around the church with the picture and so on. And yeah, the same thing. And fun fact here, the priest, when cities, ancient Egyptians were going next to the church, they were asking for a favor, something to tell them if it's gonna happen, and the priests were moving the boat either in the front for a yes or back for no. So people they are hoping that to get forward a yes from the priest because they thought it was coming from the gods. Next, we have Hellenism, the the religion of the ancient Greeks that is still practiced nowadays in Greece, here in Cyprus, and Hellenic diaspora, America, and so on. The civilization of ancient Greeks, because there were different cultures, but they came together under Alexander the Great, as we all know. There were an earlier civilization, but we don't have much for 3000 BC. For the ones that we know, starts at 3000 BC, the Minoan culture, then goes to 1750. That's the Mycenaean culture comes to place in the mainland. In 1250, we have the Trojan War. 500 is the classical period where the Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, and so on, the philosophers start. And 336, we have a time of Alexander the Great, which becomes the king of Macedonia, spreads the message of Hellenism. And from that time, 323 to 30 BC, we have the Hellenistic period, where Hellenism spreads. After that, we get the Romans. So it changes. Nowadays, because due to Christianity, Theodosius stopped paganism in general. So Hellenism was stopped also. So we lost many rituals, writings, and so on. And we don't know exactly how they used to do what they used to do. We have ideas from the writings that are saved to this day. So the practitioners, as you can see here, they do what is called reconstruction of rituals. They reconstruct from what they have as a written word, and they try to implement to their practice. As you can see here, out in nature, they bring their offerings, flowers, and maybe something that is eaten here can be eaten. They bring offerings to the gods. Here, someone is talking to the gods. to bless them, and so on. The offerings here, the same things as we saw in Orthodox Christianity. Next, we have India, the Hinduism in India, basically. Their name comes from Indus Valley civilization. It was area that part of India and Pakistan, where the civilization started, and that area is the Indus Valley. So that's where Hinduism comes because it was the first religion in that area, and that this civilization starts at 2500 up to 1700 BC. From 1500 to 1200 BC, we get the four Vedas. Vedas are like they're the scriptures, like the Bible of Christianity. There are four books, and that's the rituals, the sayings of the mystics and their saints, and so on. Everything is included about their religion in there. And that's where they get their religious rituals. As you can see here, they use smoke like we saw in Christianity, to clean the evils, sins, and so on. And here, that's a festival that is be done every few years, and where people from all around the world that followers of Hindus, they come here for pilgrimage, and they bathe into water, as we do in baptism that we show in Catholic Christianity, and we do also in Orthodox, so they can clean themselves. So smoke and water are two elements that purify our bodies and our souls. That's why it's common in different civilizations and cultures. Next, we have the Chinese religions. Taoism was the oldest ones. Confucianism came later on after Confucius, and Buddhism that came from Buddha from India. Now, China had also different dynasties, like Egypt. The first one is Shah dynasty. Supposedly is the first one that came at 2100 BC. The one we have written words are Shang dynasty, 1600 BC. By Shang dynasty, this one says that there was an earlier one which is called Shah. X is called Sh. So Shang dynasty supposedly was the first one, but it's like mythological. The archaeologists didn't find yet anything concrete. So materially, Shang is the first one, 1600 BC. Later on, we got Qin Shi Huang, which was the first emperor. He was the one that united the whole area that is now China, because there were different dynasties, different places with different warlords. So he united all of them. And that's when the whole area that is now China became united for the first time, after they had the different dynasties, of course. And that's where we get the word China, actually, because Q is called, when you say it, you pronounce it as Qi. So Qin dynasty, Qin, China. That's where we get the name. That happened in 221 BC. Now, again, in China, as you can see, they have similarities in Taoism. Offerings here, they have fruits and other edible things. They have the pictures of their gods. Most of the times is the main three. They are on top one, and the lower you go, the less the deity, because they have a lot of deities. They are polytheists. They have, depending on who you worship, the area you are, you have different deities. But most of the time, you see these three guys because they are the main gods, like Zeus, for example, Poseidon, and Hades in ancient Greece, for example. As you can see here, again, three. And the priest here is holding the stick, as we have in Christianity, we have candles. In Asia, they have sticks, incense sticks. Everyone knows about them. Again, with the smoke, you bless, you worship, you say thanks to your gods, and so on. And then you stick it in sand, like we do in Christianity again. The difference is the incense stick. and they don't hold one, they hold three sticks. As you can see, he's holding them like that, three sticks, and he's bowing. Why three? Because it's a significant number. In all the civilizations and cultures, it has a meaning. Even Christianity will have the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Three. That's in India they have again the three main gods: Shiva, Vishnu, and Brahma. The three gods. So the same here because there are three. You can see three gods, the main gods. It's also about Qin, Qi, and Shen, the three energy centers when you practice internal martial arts. So there are similarities, there are connections, and so on. Symbolism. Yeah. Next, we have the Incas in Peru. Here is the main festival where they worship the sun god because he was important, the most important god as in Egypt because it gives warmth and it gives the it helps the crops grow, so it gives food and warmth to people. So this one, that's a stone on top of the mountains that the sun hits, and when the sun hits, there is a specific time and day that the sun hits perfectly on this part, and they say that is like the is tying the sun, so they are trying to bring the sun down to them to help them out, and that is called Intihuatana because Inti is the sun god, the name of the god, and Huatana is tying up the sun god basically. And they do this and the solstice when the sun is at the top. Anyone who is interested in the solstice and this kind of practice, they have an idea of what I'm talking about. As you can see here again, they are talking to the gods, they are offering, they are talking to them to come down, to help them out, worship them, and so on. And their civilization was from 1438 to 1533 AD afterwards. As you can see, we have the same rituals in different civilizations throughout the world in different periods, and we're still doing them in some form or another in Christianity. So not so much difference now, right? Now let's move to the initiation rites. That's a picture that shows the Eleusina mysteries. I wanted to show as an example because in each time they have the so-called mysteries in different civilizations. They have the Mithraism, they have Hinduism, they have also theirs, in Taoism there is also mystical sectors, in Islam they have Sufis, so on. In Greece, the most well-known was the Eleusinian mysteries. Cicero, the well-known Roman philosopher and politician, gave talk about the Eleusinian mysteries. He wrote this for them. For it appears to me that among the many exceptional and divine things your Athens has produced and contributed to human life, nothing is better than those mysteries. For by means of them we have transformed from a rough and savage way of life to a state of humanity, and have been civilized, just as they are called initiations. So in actual fact, we have learned from them the fundamentals of life, and have grasped the basis not only for living with joy, but also for dying with a better hope. So he's saying that even though Athens gave uh, philosophy, arts, civilization for the ancients, the Eleusinian Mysteries was something greater than that Athens gave, because it showed them the way to live and even to die, because it was helping the people dying peacefully. It showed them even death before it comes, so when the time comes, they were peaceful. And that was an initiation rite that we don't have to this day really like that. Mysteries acted as a rite of passage, helping people come to the other side and as reborn individuals mentally and psychologically. Because you think that you are passing through something like a barrier that is sacred, and you are going to the extraordinary, as we said in the first slide. So it changes you mentally and psychologically. Now, rites of passage. According to the ethnographer Arnold van Gennep, there are three stages of rites of passages. First phase is separation. You are being isolated from your culture, or back then from your tribe, to go through your journey in the rite of passage. You cannot go with others. Second phase, liminality, is the transitioning phase where you removing yourself from the way you lived to go through this journey because it's something new. And then the third phase is the incorporation, where you come back, you reintegrate into your tribe and your culture as a new person. Every ritual, every initiation rite, rite of passage has these three phases. Now, these are a couple of examples that are still present to this day to so-called primitive cultures, tribes. The Kosa in Africa, Xhosa, that's a circumcision ritual. They put this paint on them. It helps with the ritual. They isolate themselves on nature, and they do the circumcision ritual, and they live there by themselves until the ritual ends. And here we have the New Guinea. That's the crocodile scars ritual. It symbolizes, as you can see, it's like a crocodile gave you these scars, but they do this with blades. Someone it's on their back and or top front too, and it's doing the scars on them. So people can do it according to their culture. First of all, for the first, they are doing it when they are young, so they can become men. From boys became go through the manhood through this ritual. By this example, in Papua New Guinea, people can do it even in their 40s or 50s. But until they do that, they are not considered actual men within their tribe. They're considered still boys. So you have to go through this ritual, the initiation ritual, this rite of passage, to be considered a man of the tribe. There are videos online, you can find them, you can search them, and they show the rituals. I'll have also links too. Now, last, what do you see? Actually, we have these examples, these rituals, these ideas from the ancient civilizations practiced to this day from in other organizations in places, fraternities, social organizations, esoteric groups, as you can see, and they are similar. Freemasonry, the most well-known social organization, and here Druidism or Wicca, the most well-known modern versions of paganism. What brings them together is their shared behavior, the way they talk, the words they say, the way they act with each other, the language and appearances. You can see they wear the same things, same forms, because it means something to them, and they use specific words. Same things happen in ancient civilizations and religions. Rituals based on history, values, and symbolism, because they come from the ancients, they have history behind them, they have the specific values that they try to teach their practitioners, and there is symbolism all around, all the time, whether they're doing a ritual or whatever they wear or just their place. It has a meaning, has a symbolism. So why are rituals still important to this day? Rituals give purpose to people. They work as a function of shared beliefs, identity, and belonging. That's what is called in anthropology structural factualism, because it functions as a structure. If you remove this part, this type of religions and rituals, people would find hard time day-to-day things they have to do because they are used to that through their cultures. Rituals offer symbolic meaning to people's lives because they bridge the people with their divine. They help you come closer to the god or gods. Rituals transform people psychologically. That's where the Jungian archetypes and mythology comes in, because we feel that we are connected through these myths, these archetypes, and we are being transformed through the rituals. So humans did not change. They still use rituals to create meaning in their lives. They have the same or similar beliefs and ways of living as the ancients did. The tools and methodologies adapted. That's important to remember. Nothing changed, so accept others too. In conclusion, rituals carry crucial and personal meanings for each, but it is not inferior to someone else's. So your ritual, your way of thinking and belief is important to you the same as it is to someone else. So yours is not inferior or superior to someone else. Group or religious rituals create and bind communities together on a micro level. So the people that have the same ideas and beliefs on a specific community, they come together on micro level and they connect through this. That's why Christianity is strong. It binds people because of that. There is a community. People believe the same things and do the same rituals. On a collective unconscious works on the macro level. That's where symbolism come because we have the same symbols throughout the world in different civilizations and cultures. So that's where the archetypes come in. Learn and why and how others do their rituals to receive some interesting insights. As we said, no one's inferior or superior. So show others your beliefs, but also accept others and learn from them because they will have something to show you and teach you. And because of that, respect others and show your perspective to bring awareness to the similarities in order to connect. The more awareness we are of what others are doing and they are what we are doing and we accept each other, the more we are connected instead of fighting and trying to impose to someone else our own beliefs because no one is right and the other ones are wrong. Everyone is correct. It's just a different methodology, different tool, as we said. Now you can find about the book or about me. If you search Vasilis Stefanou, my name in the Google, you'll find on Goodreads my books in general. YouTube, as you are seeing this video already here. Subscribe if you didn't already. On Medium, I have various articles on philosophy and social sciences. On Spotify, I have a podcast, Castbox. I have a podcast, but it's for in the Greek language. Anyone that speaks the language. And on social media, I post different things. The Life Upgrades is my website where I have everything, my books, my work, my background, and so on. So hope you like this presentation. If you did, like, comment below, share with someone you think would be interested in it. Subscribe for more, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.